Well, hello, everyone. My name is Joanna Cohn. I'm director of the Institute for Global Tobacco Control here at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. And I'm so excited for today's lecture and to introduce our innovation speaker. Dr. Pinpin Zheng is a tobacco control research expert and professor in the School of Public Health at Fudan University in Shanghai. She's the director of the Tobacco Control Research Center at the university's Health Communications Institute. And I can't help mentioning that she was a visiting scholar here at Johns Hopkins University in 2008. Professor Zheng has worked in tobacco control for over 20 years, and her research has contributed to tobacco control policy advocacy. Her work includes assessing the patterns and predictors of secondhand smoke exposure in different settings and different population groups, investigating key research questions related to tobacco control policy, especially workplace smoking restrictions and media exposure, and developing and testing theory-based smoking cessation interventions. She has covered it all, from protecting people from secondhand smoke, preventing tobacco use, and helping people quit. Professor Zheng is passionate about smoking cessation and assisting people who smoke, as well as advocating for tobacco control policy. She works with the media to push forward the tobacco control progress. And she knows that tobacco control is not easy, and it needs cooperation by the government, society, different agencies, as well as academia. And Professor Zheng definitely plays her part in this. Now, as some of you may know, there are more cigarettes consumed in China than in the next top 29 cigarette-consuming countries combined. So to have a global impact on reducing tobacco-caused death, we have to make progress in China. So I am so excited to hear Professor Zheng's talk about tobacco control in China over the past 10 years. So welcome, Professor Zheng, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Professor Cohan, and thank you, everyone. I'm very excited and feel very honored to have this opportunity to make the introduction of our recent research. I really hope I have other time to visit this center again, the lovely center, very impressive for me. And now I will share my screen. Yeah. Okay, let's begin. So my introduction is about our recent research exploring change in smoking social norm in China over the past 10 years. And this presentation includes a series of studies, including the change of smoking social norms, the change of smoking behavior, and the relationship between the smoke-free policy, social norm, and the smoking behavior. So this is the framework of behavior change view. And the inner part, the green circle, comes from the model of class B. That means the capability, opportunity, and the motivation contributed to the behavior change. And the middle circle, the red part, is the intervention functions. And for the other part, the green circle, it means the policy categories. Especially, we pay attention to two parts. This is the legislation, regarding the tobacco control. It means the policy of the smoke-free policy. And the other part is regulation. And in this study, we pay attention to social norms. It means the rules that define acceptable and appropriate actions within a given group or community, thus guiding the human behavior. So unlike the legislation, the social norms means something not written and not it always usually is informal. So from the previous study literature, we know that both the smoking social norms and the smoke-free policy can contribute to the behavior change. In addition, there's interaction between the smoking social norms and the smoke-free policy. That means the social unacceptability of smoking will promote the public support. On the other hand, the public support will enhance the perceived social unacceptability of tobacco use. So according to the Empower strategy, the smoke-free policy is the most cost-effective way to protect people from exposure to secondhand smoke. In China, in 2011, in Harbin, they established the first city-level smoke-free policy, which closed to the requirements of IGTC. And this regulation came to effect in 2012. Due to the severe interference of tobacco industry, you know that in China, tobacco industry is state-owned, is very powerful. And up to now, there's no national level smoke-free policy. However, there are 24 smoke-free cities in China, and which protected about 16% of Chinese people. However, China has established the Healthy China goal, and the tobacco control target of this goal is by 2020, 80% of people will be protected from secondhand smoke. So comparing to this goal, we are still lagging behind. So since the first smoke-free policy in Harbin came into effect in 2012, so there are about 10 years past, when we started this study in 2022. So 10 years passed. So our research question is, what has been changed on tobacco control over the past 10 years? So we divided our goals into 3 research questions. First is, what is the change of smoking social norms in China? So we use the text analysis through the social media discourse. And the second is, what is the change of the public smoking behavior in China? So we did a group interview among the smokers and the non-smokers. The third is how to measure the smoking social norms in China in a quantitative way. So we had a nationwide survey. First is to develop the smoking social norm scale, and second, to explore the relationship between the smoke-free policy, the smoking social norms, and the smoking behavior. We try to use this mixed method to assess the effectiveness of 10 years efforts on tobacco control and try to explore its internal mechanism. So the first question is the change of smoking social norms. As we know that social media can serve as effective platform to gauge the public discussion. So we can use the Xinlang Weibo. So this is like the Twitter. So everyone can post on Xinlang Weibo, and other people can comment on these posts. So when we use the tag of tobacco control, there are over 6 million reads, over 13,000 discussions. So this is a feasible platform for public discussions on tobacco control issues. So these are the 2 screenshots. So the left is, this is the post. It's about the discussion about, the smoking in the train. You know that in China, in the high-speed train, smoking is strictly forbidden due to the safety concerns. However, for the ordinary train, we call it as a green train. You can smoke at the junction area of the carriage. So this is the post to complain for this phenomenon. And for this post, there are 103 comments. So these 4 comments about, also the complaints, and this is suggestion just shut down the tobacco factory. So we did this qualitative research, and the period of analysis, from the 2011 to 2021, and we identified the keywords as tobacco control, the smoke-free legislation, non-smoking in public place, secondhand smoke, designated smoking area, and the smoke-free environment. So through these keywords, we extracted the Weibo post by the Weibo shares passion packets. So in this way, we can know what they are talking about, on tobacco control. And based on that, we also want to know the netizens' attitude toward the smoke-free legislation. So after we define the post with the topic of smoke-free legislation, we also extracted the comments under the topic of the smoke-free legislation through the same passion package. So we use the topic model clustering algorithm, for 3 aims. Firstly, we want to know the main attention. So what they are talking about, what's their focus. And the second, we want to know their attitudes. That is the public sentiment. We want to know whether they disagree or whether they agree or disagree with the smoke-free policy. The third, because this study spanned over 10 years, so we want to know the time trend. So that is the temporal variation. So we use this method both for the Weibo posts and the Weibo comments. So here are the results. After cleaning the dataset, and finally, we analyze a total of over 100,000 posts. So these tables show the top 10 topics and examples of Weibo posts when we use, the keywords. The topic including the smoker image, the smoking in public place, the smoke-free legislation, smoking in office place, and there are also some celebrity smoking, such as movie star smoking, and the smoking outside while walking, smoking on the train, and smoking in the restaurant. So this is the rank and about the topic of the Weibo post. And the most frequently discussed topic was smokers' image, smoking in the indoor park place, and followed by smoke-free legislation. So this is the attitude for the netizens to this post. The red one means the words, you use the words negative, and the blue one means the positive. According to regarding the topic of the smoker's image and the smoking in public place, over 90% of these posts are highly negative, and with the term like as awful, selfish, and disgusting, something like that. So it indicates that a widespread anti-smoking social norm. Regarding the topic of smoke-free legislation, and totally there are over 300,000 comments toward this topic. And through the machine learning, it automatically clustered into 13 positive topics and 7 negative topics. This table shows the positive topics such as strongly support and prohibit smoking in public place and increasing the smoking penalty violation and enforce the importance of enforcements. And this is the something about the negative, including the smoke-free policy does not work and insufficient law enforcement. So overall, we can see that there are more there are more positive comments towards the smoke-free policy than the negative. So the strongly support smoking should be prohibited in public place, increasing the penalty gets the highest proportions. And for the negative report, for the negative comments, when we see the detail, we can see that the majority of these negative comments actually, they convey the dissatisfaction with the current smoke-free legislation or current enforcement. So these two figures shows the temporal trend of comments. Both the positive comments and the negative comments have the similar trend. That is, before the COVID-19, both the positive and negative comments have consistently increased, peaking at 2019. But as we know that after the pandemic, the pandemic become the hottest, get the hottest attention. So overall, there's a growing public attention to more smoke-free legislation, especially before the pandemic. So this is a simple conclusion of our first study. The first is the formation of the anti-smoking social norms, and the public discourse of netizens focus on smokers' image, smoking behavior in public place, and smoke-free legislation. Second, the anti-smoking social norm can be reflected both in the public support and the concern about the smoke-free legislation. Overall, the public has shown strong support for smoke-free policies, and the negative comments, in fact, they reflect the dissatisfaction with the law enforcement. And before the pandemic, the public attention on this topic continually to grow. So then we come to the second question, the change of behavior, smoking behavior. So this figure shows the global smoking prevalence change in the past 20 years. And the green one is the global smoking prevalence, and the red one is from China. So you can see that there's only a very slightly decline of smoking prevalence in China. However, although we can know the smoking prevalence change through these ways, we also want to do something further. What is the change for the public smoking behavior? Whether they will have contributed to this change. So we selected 7 cities based on the different type of city, on their location, on their type of smoke-free policy, and on their smoking prevalence. So finally, Shanghai, Zhengzhou, Shenyang, and the 7 cities were selected. And in each city, we have 1 smokers group interview and 1 non-smokers group interview. And totally, there are 46 smokers and 47 non-smokers were recruited in the focus groups interview study. And additionally, we had key informant interviews with the 7 key experts, who have worked in tobacco control for a long time. So here is the results of the interview. The first is what has changed on behavior. So the left one shows the course from smokers, and the right part shows the course from non-smokers. So both the smokers and non-smokers, they agree that now more smokers will not smoke before the pregnant woman and the children. And the second is both the smokers and the non-smokers declare that now the smokers will avoid smoking in indoor public place. And this conclusion also confirmed by experts from Henan CDC, because they did the observation and the PM2.5 measurement year by year, and they can see the decline trend. And the third is there are more smokers quit, and both the smokers and the non-smokers indicated that more smokers have intention to treat or have intention to quit smoking or have already quitted. And this is also confirmed by the experts in tobacco control. So we also want to explore the reasons of the change. So in summary, it can divide into 2 parts. First, the implementation of smoke-free policy. Due to the implementation of smoke-free policy, so the people will comply to such policy. So there will be less smokers, less smoker in the public place. And the other is the anti-smoking social norm. So some smokers said they can clearly feel the disagreement to smoking behavior among the people around them, including their family, friends, and colleagues. So this is a conclusion for the second study. The first is the self-perceived smoking behavior change among the public. although there are still many smokers, but both the smokers and the non-smokers have from that, there are less smokers smoking in indoor park place, non-smokers smoking before the pregnant women and the children, and the more smokers quit. And the reason can contribute to the established and the enforcement of the smoke-free policy, and also for the anti-smoking social norms. So here we came to the third question. So although the previous studies have used the qualitative methods to assess the smoking social norm, can we measure it quantitatively? So we also want to know what the internal mechanism between the smoke-free policy, the smoking social norm, and the smoking behavior. So we developed a nationwide survey, to develop a scale and explore this relationship. So this is a nationwide study, and we used the stratified sampling. We conducted a convenience sampling in proportion to the population across these 7 major regions in China, from the northeast, east, central, southwest, south, and the northwest. And the inclusion criteria for the adults and have lived in this region for more than 1 year. And we use the online questionnaire platform 问卷星, and we did this study, in 2023 with 3,255 valid response. And I will not repeat the definition of the social norm because we have mentioned that before. And according to our textbook, our health education, generally, the social norm can be divided into 2 dimensions. The first is descriptive norms. That is what I believe others are doing. For example, in my view, how many people smoke, how many males smoking. So this means the perception of the prevalence of others' actual behaviors. And the other is injunctive norms. That is what I believe others will improve of, refers to individuals' perception of acceptable or unacceptable behavior within group. So these others always mean something important to them, such as whether I think my families, my friends, my leaders will approve smoking. So this is the dimensions we developed in this study. In addition to the descriptive norms and adjunctive norms I just mentioned, we also add 2 norms. One is the moral norms. So this is based on the latest definition by UNICEF. It means the moral norms of smoking means norms involve individuals' internal moral judgment and values regarding the smoking behavior, and it reflects their sense of moral responsibility and personal principles. Also, you know that in China, we have the so-called tobacco culture. So culture may play an important role. So the smoking norms are often created as a given culture, such as selling tobaccos help others to increase and the smoking with others help to increase the social interaction. So we add these 2 norms. So the definition of smoking social norm in our study, including 4 dimensions. The first is the descriptive norms, the injunctive norm, moral norms, and the tobacco culture norms. So we define the smoking social norm as the behavior patterns, behavior standards, moral norm, and cultural custom regarding the smoking behavior that are widely accepted within a specific context. So this is the primary scale items. So we develop these items from the 4 ways. The first is the definition of each dimension. The second is, we have did some qualitative study about the smoking behavior. So we analyze this course. And the third is after literature review, we found the previous smoking social norm items in the international studies. And the fourth, for the tobacco culture norms, we look up some literature, Chinese literature. There are some previous research related to tobacco culture in China. So originally, we have developed 21 items, on the smoking social norms in China, including these 4 mentions. So from the over 3,000 samples, we randomly selected 10% for the exploratory factor analysis. And after we deleted some item, we found that the result of the exploratory factor analysis, we can, for this structure, it is just consistent with our original expectation. And then we select another 10% of the total sample, which is also 328 for the confirmatory factor analysis. And this figure shows that this model fits well. So this for the validity. And then we did the conversion validity, and it shows that the conversion validity is also acceptable. And then we also calculate the discriminant validity and see that it is also good. So this is our final scale development. So we calculate the reliability, and the Kronbacher coefficient is, the total is 0.876. And these are the items, and these are the options. And this is Kronbacher coefficient for each dimension. And this is a little small and show a last one. So this is the final item of this scale. We have 5 items for the descriptive norms. And this is the items, the number of friends who smoke, the proportion of current smokers in their workplace, and how many current smokers by your estimation, how many male smoking and how many female smoking, because in China, the smoking prevalence among the male is significantly higher than the female. So we divided by gender. And the second is the injunctive norms, including, whether someone important to me will approve smoking. So we have the family members about smoking, best friends, my leaders, my supervisors, and the public around me is about smoking. So we use the linked from 1 to 5, from smoking, from the strongly disagree to strongly agree. So the higher the score, that means the support for smoking. So the third method is the moral norms. So, but for this dimension, we use the reverse score. So this means, something in their morality standard. People should not smoke in front of pregnant manners, should not smoke in public place, should not smoke in a crowded outdoor space. And the last part is come from the tobacco culture social norms, divide some items, related to Chinese culture about the smoking, such as, it can work as the gifts and the share smoking, and the smoking should be provided to the guests, and the smoking should, smokers should be respected. And this is the overall descriptive results of the smoking social norms among the Chinese people. And for the descriptive norms, we can see that people tend to overestimate the smoking prevalence. People think that too many people around them, were smoking, but in fact, not not so much, they're overestimated. And the second is injunctive injunctive smoking norms. People tend to think that families and the public disapprove of smoking behavior. However, there are more people think their supervisor, their leaders will support smoking. So that is a problem. And the third, for the moral norms, most people think smoke-free should be a part of standard of morality. And for the smoke-free smoke culture norms, we found that the deep impact of smoking culture, among the people, because about half people agree that even if you don't smoke, you should prepare some cigarettes for the guests. So that is impact of the so-called smoking culture. So to make the analysis, we use these models, it's the International Tobacco Control Concept Model. We can use it to evaluate the impact and the mechanism of the policy on, related outcome, including smoking behaviors. So our assumption is this is a smoke-free policy, and the social norm works here. Social norm can act as psychosocial mediator, so it can influence the pathway between the smoke-free policy and smoke-free, and the smoking behavior, which work as the policy relevant outcomes. So this result about the verification of this mediation model. So this is a smoke-free policy, and this is smoking behavior. Of course, the smoking-free policy have a direct effect on smoking behavior, but it only accounts for about 29%. And then the the other 27% comes from 4 pathways. These 4 pathways are the 4 dimensions of smoking social norms, the injective, the descriptive, the injective, moral, and the tobacco culture norm. And all these 4 pathways have significant effect. So this is conclusion for our third study. And in this study, we developed smoking social norms among the Chinese people, and with acceptable reliability and validity, and it has four dimensions and 19 items. And also we found that the social norm can work as a psychosocial mediator from smoke-free policy to smoking behavior. And this partial mediation effect is 7%, So we think that is very important because, now it's a little difficult to, that China will have a comprehensive national smoke-free policy is very difficult. Even for the city levels, it's also hard. So at this time, we can also focus on how can we change the smoking social norms. So through this way, we can also help to reduce the smoking prevalence. So this is the conclusion of this study, regarding these questions, and we have we use the different method, and have found that the conclusion is we found that the social norm has changed, and the public have found the anti-smoking social norms, and they support the smoke-free policy. And through the group interview, we found that the change of smoking behavior, people will not smoke, in the public place, will not smoke in front of the pregnant woman. And through the national survey, we have Chinese social smoking social norms, and found it can act as a mediator in the pathway from the smoke-free policy to smoking behavior. So use this research, we try to explore the effectiveness of 10 years efforts on tobacco control in China, and try to explore its internal mechanism. So we hope that more comprehensive smoke-free policy should be legislated and implemented. And also we should have intervention to enhance the public anti-smoking social norms. It also matters. Of course, there are some limitation because we did the study step by step. When we have the first result, then we want to know what we can do the next. So it's a step by step. So instead of very comprehensive study on a systematic design, and we know that smoke-free is only a part of tobacco control. We have now got an overview of change in tobacco control, so only a small part. And that China has a very big, the very big territory, very big area with so many nationalities, the diverse in culture. So even we have such skill, we still think it's difficult to reflect the overall social norms on smoking in China. Is also difficult. In addition, although we have tried to find the mediation effect of social norms, so we still need to use the cohort data to verify, this effect. So this reference, and last I will thank for the support from the tobacco-free kids. And this support was support from them, and Zhang Shuai and Sisi also provided a lot of technical support for that, and appreciate for that. We also thank for all the participants in this study, and we thank you for the efforts from our team. The Yang Xiaoguang, Fang Ling, Zhao Yuchen, Zhu Weiyun, Guo Wenjie, Qian Chenyu, Ye Xiaotao. This photo is from us and the TFK teams, and this is for our lovely, the lovely students. Yes, and that's all. I hope I have explained it. I'm not sure if I have explained it very clearly because I'm a little nervous. And thank you for your attention, and welcome to your questions. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, what a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. You did a fantastic job. It was very clear, and we invite people to put their questions in the Q&A, and we've got a few already, so I'm going to just jump in. I know near the end you showed us a list of references, but one of the people who is listening in was asking, do you have any of this published or in a report that people could access? Because I think a lot of people are finding it like really, really interesting.
Yeah, so we are still working on the paper for the third part for the social norm skill. We have developed the manuscript, and we welcome the participation. If any of you are interested in this one, we can work together for the manuscript. We already have the the very primary version, but still work on that. And for the first part, we didn't have the paper yet, but we had released our report on the media, on the media conference, and there are some media reports on that. We also want our story to let people know. So I think that is also a part of our work. But you are right, we will work on that. The first two parts have not worked on that, due to our limited people and limited time. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, of course. So, it takes a little while to get the papers out, but thank you. There's another question specifically regarding the third study, study 3. And it's they're saying that it seems that the descriptive norms seem to be driving a lot of the indirect effects, the descriptive norms. And so the question is, do you have any suggestions or recommendations on how communication campaigns might be able to shift descriptive norms? And, with a note that already about 70% are overestimating the issue already. So if you could speak to that.
Yeah, so yes, I think that this the scale of social norm open a new window on how can we do the health communication on tobacco control. Usually we'll focus on the danger of smoking, so that is important. But however, the descriptive norms means how many people around you are smoking, and we found that people tend to overestimate that. Some people think that more than 10% of Chinese women are smoking, but in fact, maybe 2 or 3, so far less than. So I think in the future, in addition to the harm smoking or the benefit of quitting, we should also aid that there are not so many smokers around that. And the time is changing. So I think that is important because in China, due to our culture, we want to follow with others. Follows others' behavior. So if the people, especially the smokers, know that less and the smokers, there are less smokers are more quitters, I think that may have some impact on their behavior. But you are right, how to change that? Just show the number or show the story. So I think that needs more studies to clarify that.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And this work was focused on smoke-free, in particular, like views around smoke-free and norms. Do you think this, and I know you haven't done this work, so this is just a hypothetical question. Do you think that around other policies, other tobacco control policies that we think of, like the other policies of Empower, that they might have the same, that the relationship between the policy and the norms and the behaviors might be similar to what you've seen here?
Yes, because according to that ITC model, it say that there's a policy, the policy related, and there is the psychosocial factors. I think not smoke-free policy may be a part, but also the others, such as the warnings on the package, such as the media campaigns, and even I think the tax may also change the social norm. However, in the recent past 10 years, there are not so many changes in the other aspects. So there are only some smoke-free policy. Our package warning did not have a big change, and our tax is not high enough to meet the criteria. So I think that is a good question. So I think use this conceptual model, we can figure out the different policy on which, through which pathway it can affect the behavior. It may be also the direct effect, but also the mediation effect. I think that may be also a good question, in the further research, if we have opportunity, we should pay attention to that. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Terrific, thank you. There's another question on this particular study, and then I want to go back to some of your work on smoking cessation, which you haven't discussed, but there was a question about that. But let's stick with social norms. So we have a question from someone at Hong Kong University, and thanking you for your excellent presentation, and sort of noting that social norms are very important and that this is really helpful and important work as well. And so the question is about the first study, study 1. Among the negative comments, you highlighted 2 that were complaints about the tobacco control policy not being strong enough. And this person thinks that maybe they should be considered as supporting tobacco control rather than opposing. And also, it seems that there are very few opinions from people who smoke, such as support for smoking. So just wondering about your thoughts on this.
Yes, yes, there are some, the negative and the positive are evaluated by the dictionary, automatically. But in fact, when we go through the words, we go to the detail, as you have mentioned, it seems they are, unsupported smoke-free legislation. But in fact, they just complain that the current smoke-free legislation has not been fully enforced. So just by the dictionary, because this was, there are so many words, it was calculated by the machine learning. It's not by one. So, but after we go to the details, we can see, in fact, sometimes it seems negative, but in fact, this will support that. So yes, that's quite right. So we should, when we have the manuscript, we should have more discussion on this issue.
Great, thanks. So I promise one of the people viewing wants to just hear a little bit about smoking cessation. I know that's another piece of your work, and noted that this is hard work as well. The policy work is hard work. Smoking cessation is hard work. What I know you've been developing and testing approaches and interventions. Do you have any general advice for people who are tuning in about how to be effective with smoking cessation?
Yes, yeah, that's the long story. Yeah, and in fact, we have 2 attempts on have the smoking cessation, health measure. The first is just a tailored smoking cessation, app. That means according to the transient radical states of change model, the people in different states, they will not quit, they want to quit, they're preparing, they are doing something. So each one will have a tailored, personalized message every day. So this is the first version. But now, AI has come. So we have another version. Based on the previous study, we make 2 changes. The first is the previous version just comes from the smoking cessation guideline. That is what the experts think about the cessation. But my smoker told me that even you do some tobacco control, you never smoke, you didn't know the truth. So we added another one is how the smokers think about the smoking cessation. So we make qualitative interviews with the smokers. Some have quit. We want to know how they quit. Some didn't quit, want to know what's difficult for them. So we develop another information database on the smoker's perspective, combined with the experts' perspective together as the information database. So this one. And the second is, how can we give the message? Previously, I just used the transient radical model, but we know that even we are in the same stage, maybe we have different personality. For example, I may like the music, I don't like the physical activity. So we want to have everyone has a personalized image. So we will match it. So you have an image, we will match what kind of information fits you. And if you look this information for a long time and you use a sample, you support this information, when we see it next time, we'll give you the similar message. So we just try to use machine learning to make this better. And also we had some with some games, such as the balance thinking. So how to think about the cons and the benefits and the disadvantage and disadvantage of smoking and cessation. That is very, comprehensive, complicated. So we use some games to help them to balance. So we use that. So, but however, the most difficulty for us is how to recruit the smokers. So that is what I want to see. So that the same phenomenon comes China is, although we have so many smoke-free clinics, the smoking cessation clinics, some of them don't have a lot of people to come. The people will not go. So that's attributed to social norm. If the people don't think that's a big question, don't think I'm sick, I don't think smoking means illness, so I don't want to go to the clinic. So that's the problem. So now I try to, to recruit more smokers to come, as a RCT. First, you want to for the evidence, to confirm that it's effective. The second is implementation. So now we are recruiting more smokers. But I think the most important is how to change the social norms. If smoking is unacceptable in the whole society, so everything will be easy. There will be more smokers go to the smoking cessation, more smokers will use our smoking cessation clinic. So everything will change. But this needs the change of the policies, empower, so many things. So in fact, that in China, it still goes a long way to go, especially to the severe interference of Chinese tobacco industry. So we also do some monitoring studies about that.
Wow. Thank you so much. You covered everything in that answer.
Sorry.
All the way. No, it's fantastic. You gave us from, it sounds like you're doing amazing work also with specifically with your app and intervention. So we're going to have you back. There are a few more questions. Let's see what we can get through in the remaining minutes that we have. We have someone who asked about smoking by women in China, females in China. And the question is, like, are the data showing, or even in your interviews or focus groups, does it seem like smoking is increasing among women in China in the last 10 years, or is that still staying low?
Yeah, so because in China, the smoking in women remains very low, due to the culture, in the Asia culture, not only in China, I think that maybe in the Indonesia, the country around, people don't support the male smoking is, acceptable. That for female smoking is not acceptable. But I have noticed that some Chinese experts, especially experts on the society, in the 社会学 social in the society, studies, they have paid attention to that. I seen, some presentation 1 week before to pay attention to that. But generally, still, that in the white collar, the young women, there will be more smokers than before. But generally, the smoking prevalence in China for the female remains very, very low. Yeah, it remains low. But yeah. But we also pay attention that if it remains low, that means the tobacco industry may think it's an opportunity for them to promote the female smoking. So that is one is their marketing strategy. So we want to, in the further, we'll pay attention their marketing strategy, what they do, what they're thinking. So we may find some opportunity to fight against them. Yeah, that is a good point for us in the further.
And then another sort of related question to demographics. Are you seeing any generational divide in social norms around smoking? So older people versus younger people. Have your data shown any differences in social norms by age groups?
Yes, I think, that is very good question. I wish to do further in-depth analysis on this issue, but we haven't do the analysis. But according to my perception, I still think there's some difference, between the different generation. Now among the young people, I think there are less smokers. Maybe there's some e-cigarette, but generally the smoking prevalence is lower than, especially the male smoking is much lower than that of 20 years ago. So there are some difference. So that is why, that the tobacco industry have to have some innovations such as 爆珠烟, how to say that? The birds capsule, the capsule, do you know the capsule, although in the China's tobacco industry prohibit the e-cigarettes, you had some, the taste other than tobacco, but themselves really, produce the capsule cigarettes. So that is really problem. So the capsule, I think most of them have used to attract the young people. So now we wanted to set up a database for the capsule cigarettes in China and want to make some analysis for the package and may do some, the laboratory, we can you do some experiment to see whether it can track the youngest attention, whether can increase the intention to buy, to use. So we want to do something on that. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm going to try and squeeze in, I think, one more question. We're unfortunately not going to be able to get to all of them. I really appreciate the great participation, and you covered your topic so well that it's just generating, additional excitement and questions. But maybe I'll take one from Brazil, because we have people from around the world tuning in. So a question from Brazil is that they're also seeing, a drop in smoking prevalence. But one of their challenges is seeing an increase in smoking by women, but also the use of e-cigarettes, electronic cigarettes, by young people. And they're wondering what's happening in China related to that. Are there good data? How are cities and provinces and the country sort of addressing that issue?
Yeah, so I think that in 2021, in 2021, and the Chinese prohibited the how say that, the flavored cigarettes, that this was prohibited by the tobacco industry. So it's very interesting. I think that, yes. So we want to use this opportunity to find out whether there are such kind of regulation, how impacts on the smoking e-cigarettes, whether there are some change on smoking. So we are doing a country comparatively study. So before the legislation, we have did some monitoring on the e-cigarettes shops. So how they market that, and we did some visit the over, I think, 160 shops in China, in Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shanghai and Chengdu. And after that, we go that again. So we can see there is a very quick drop of shops, and there is less marketing than before. So yeah, we are preparing this paper. But after interview, we found that there are still some problems, because although the flavor was prohibited by tobacco industry, in fact, the e-cigarette users can have their way to get the flavored cigarettes. As flavored e-cigarette, they still have their, they can use, although the online buy cigarette is prohibited, but still they can use the WeChat. You can use the social media. They have different ways to get the original product. So that is really a big problem. So we are doing a survey among the e-cigarette users. So we want to know what their attitude toward this regulation, whether they are changed on this behavior. So we have developed the questionnaire, and we will collect the data maybe in this year. So if we have any results, I would like to share with our colleagues. Yeah, I think that is a very good opportunity for us to find something interesting.
Okay, so more to come. We're out of time, but I just want to thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful presentation, and I think the Q&A has also been terrific. You've really packed in a lot, both in your presentation and in your answers. We didn't get to all the questions, but thank you all for joining, and we look forward to seeing you at our next installment in a few weeks. So thanks so much.